Roughly 250,000 people go missing every year in the UK. Thankfully, around 99% of these are returned home safe and well. However, 1% are either found sadly passed or completely disappear under mysterious circumstances. My channel analyses just some of these strange and mysterious disappearances. Russell Bohling, aged 18, disappeared on the 2nd of March 2010. His car was discovered on Bempton Cliffs car park near Bridlington, Yorkshire. However, as he was enjoying life and his independence, suicide was ruled out. So, what happened to Russell? Let's look more in depth at the mysterious circumstances surrounding his disappearance and his body, which has never been found. Russell was a student at Bishop Burton College, where he was doing a bricklaying course. He was an ordinary 18-year-old living at home with his parents in West Ella, Yorkshire, an hour from the cliffs. On that fateful day, on the 2nd of March 2010, he left his family home at 8 a.m. as usual, but they noticed he was wearing smarter clothes than usual. Russell was very curious about a former Royal Air Force bunker near the area where his car was found. The bunker was a source of local gossip for many years, decorated with occult and pornographic graffiti. The site was linked with satanic rituals, according to the local folklore. Russell even had photos of the eerie bunker on a USB stick. Russell's father, Roger, believes it is here that his son came to harm, but his theory is an asthma attack. However, there is no body to prove or disprove his father's theory. If we look at some significant timings, it seems that after he left his home at 8 a.m. on the morning of his disappearance, 2nd of March, an RSPB worker, also known as the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, saw his car at 5 p.m. This is just 45 minutes before the sun would set and plunge the cliffs into darkness. According to weather data for that time, the lows would have reached around 0 degrees Celsius or even lower, which would have been dangerous for anyone to have been outdoors without the proper kit, which he isn't believed to have had. When the RSPB worker returned the next morning after that freezing night, Russell's car was still in the same spot. A parking ticket was displayed and paid for by Russell at 11:30 a.m. the previous morning. However, his father spoke after the inquest and said, I quote, "He wasn't seen. Nobody saw him, so there's no reason to believe he was ever on the cliff top. I believe he could have gone into the bunker at Bempton and had a massive asthma attack." End quote. If this was true, then where's his body? Starting off the search, Humberside Fire and Rescue Service deployed heat-sensitive cameras, but these would have been ineffective if Russell was freezing or already dead. Russell's family later criticised this decision. Searchers also scoured the cliffs and land around the bunker, knowing it was an infamous suicide spot. Coast Guard searched at sea and by air. Detectives searched his family home, but inexplicably, no clues were found. 2 years later, firefighters returned to the bunker and did a 3-hour detailed search. Russell's family paid £1,200 to have the seal removed after it had been sealed up due to illicit activity. Strangely, in 2012, his family found Russell's best pair of trainers at their holiday home, and they are convinced he was wearing these on the day he vanished. If this is true, then did he walk barefoot from there into oblivion? Following the initial search, police concluded he had visited York, Bradford and Bridlington in the days before he vanished, but nobody seems to know why he went and what he'd been doing there. Strangely, it emerged he'd logged on to an RAF Bempton website at 7:30 a.m. on the day he left, and his father indicated that his son showed an interest in the erotic and satanic art left on the bunker walls, supposedly by a cult in the 1970s. And the USB stick that Russell kept, holding the photos of this artwork, was never found. Russell had very little cash on him and had not used his debit card. And before he vanished, his father was planning to give him £300,000 to set up a business. Could this be linked to his disappearance? Did they search his mobile phone records? The challenge faced by detectives was that he wasn't seen in the hours after leaving home that morning on the 2nd of March 2010. And just because his car was found in the cliff car park does not necessarily mean he walked towards the cliffs or the bunker. Is it a coincidence that the same cold night Russell was missing, another man disappeared in England, never to be seen again? Donovan Van Lille, a 29-year-old fitness instructor from Pewsham, Chippenham, vanished after having not shown up for work for 2 days. He was last seen on CCTV leaving his workplace at 9:30 p.m, again on March the 2nd, 2010. Chillingly, his body also has never been found. Bempton Cliffs is on the north-east coast of England, and here you will find vertical cliffs up to 400 feet high and strong, cold gusts of wind, even on a sunny day. People come here to admire the views of the North Sea, hoping to catch a glimpse of puffins, razorbills, kittiwakes and guillemots. The chalk cliffs here have been used by the military since World War II as a base for radar stations, which were installed to detect aircraft. The Bempton RAF bunker itself had stairs leading to underground rooms before it was sealed off. Russell could have had access to it at the time of his disappearance, and he was certainly enthralled by it and its pornographic artwork and its history as a meeting place for so-called satanic rituals. Russell was a young man with the rest of his life ahead of him, but he was vulnerable and had a speech disorder. When he was 15 and stressed over exams, he left a suicide tape, but he never acted upon it, and there was nothing to suggest he was depressed when he vanished. So, what could have happened to Russell Bohling? Could he have been kidnapped at the car park upon leaving his vehicle? Did he suffer a psychotic episode and feel the need to get away? Did he sustain an injury and succumb to the freezing temperatures that night upon the cliffs? Was a serial killer predating that night? I think the most likely scenario was that he fell into the depths of the North Sea from the cliff tops. But why hasn't his body washed up to the shoreline? What do you think happened? Be sure to leave your comments below. We keep in our thoughts the family and loved ones of Russell Bohling, and may we never forget his strange disappearance. If you have information pertaining to his whereabouts, you can call the non-emergency UK police line on 101. Thanks for listening. Be sure to stay safe out there and always be prepared for the cold, gusty winters of the UK coast.